What's up out there, Liquid Trucking, and welcome into the Liquid Trucking Podcast, episode 78. Every time I say an episode number, I am blown away. We are creeping on 100, and we're going to have to come up with something very special for that 100th episode. Who knows? Maybe, well, I'm not going to run my mouth right now, as that has gotten me in trouble in the past. I have some ideas. I have not cleared them by anybody that makes decisions. So, let me tell you this, when we get to 100 episodes, something special will happen. I don't know what that thing is, but I promise you it's going to be good, okay? So thank you all for being here today. Every click matters to us. That's why we keep cranking out good content for you. We love that you guys are checking out our website. You head over to liquidtrucking.com. Of course, we go over this every single episode. Click the banner at the top of the page. That gets you to our podcast landing page. Every single episode that we've done is up there. Plus, you can get more information about the people joining us and what we are talking about. A lot of you guys use that website to check out the podcast each week, and we thank you greatly for doing so. And today, actually, we've got another driver-suggested topic here, and I'm very excited about it. My guy Mike Stanfield, we call him Redbeard from time to time. He came up with this, and he said, I want to know what drivers appreciate about Liquid Trucking. And I had this feeling that that means that he appreciates something, and something popped into his head and made him come up with that. So we're going to talk to Mike about that here in just a few minutes. And also, Liquid driver Damon Maravilla joins us again. It's been a while since we've had Damon on the show. He's a great guest. He's going to talk a little bit about what he appreciates about Liquid Trucking as well. And I think that's kind of a good place to start our conversation today. What goes into a trucking company that drivers are going to like to work for? Now, you guys all know this about me. I'm not a driver, okay? I never have been. So I don't have a personal frame of reference for this through direct experience. What I do have is a pretty good frame of reference because of the litany of drivers that I've talked to, the amount of different fleets that I've worked with, making them podcasts or consulting them about maybe doing a podcast, you name it. There's a few things that are pretty constant that drivers want, nay, need, before they're going to be really happy at a company. And I'm going to give you a few of them here. Obviously, there's a lot more, and we'll get more of these from Damon and Mike when we bring them in for the interview segment here in just a few. But one thing that crops up all the time, when I ask drivers, actually, this is where I get this mostly. When I ask drivers, what was it about the last company that you worked for that had you come to Liquid Trucking, or had you come to the company that you're working for now? And it's a very, very often repeated thing, is that the equipment was bad. And they say, I did not feel safe getting in that equipment and going on that run. It just wasn't, I don't feel like it would pass a pre-trip. I don't feel like it would pass a post-trip. I definitely don't feel like it would pass a roadside inspection. So that is a big deal, okay? And a lot of times I feel like it goes a little bit underappreciated how big of a deal it is. You're going to ask somebody to get on the road for, 11 hours a day and risk their life with 80,000 pounds of liquid strapped to their back. You want to know that you've got some good equipment, and that's something that I know Liquid has in spades. We'll talk about it a little bit coming up. There's another common thread that I hear all the time, and that is, I don't want to feel like a truck number. And a lot of companies, unfortunately, a lot of these mega carriers, okay, 2,000, 5,000 trucks, more trailers than you could shake a stick at. They're looking at you like you're a number, and it's not, I don't always think that it's the people involved necessarily that are making that decision. It might just be by virtue of the fact that there's so many people out there. It's easy to remember a number. It's not always easy to remember a name. It's not really an excuse, though, because they're not talking about just the identification of a person. They're talking about feeling like, as a person sitting in the cab with the normal trappings of human life, the person on the other end of the line, my dispatcher, actually cares about what I'm going through. They don't just care about what's strapped to the back of the truck. That's a big one, okay? A really big one. Another one is the micromanagement. drivers are skilled, right? This is very skilled labor, especially when we're talking about liquid, right? We've talked about it on this podcast so many times. The plumbing knowledge involved, the knowledge of fluid dynamics as you're just driving over the road and what it's going to do in that tank when you hit the brake or hit the gas. All of these little specializations that you learn as liquid drivers, that means you're pretty good at your job, right? You've got it down. Maybe not right after you get out of orientation, but sooner or later you're going to get there. And I've found in my travels that drivers don't like to be micromanaged. They like to be trusted that they're going to be taken at their word. They're going to tell you where they're going to be when they're going to be there, and you can expect that unless you hear an update. But in my travels, I've talked to a lot of drivers who have dealt with other companies that are constantly needling at them, constantly calling them, constantly texting them, constantly sending them messages over their ELDs, just trying to always be in their business. And from what I've learned about truck drivers as a general group of people, I don't really think there's more than maybe 1% of you guys out there that would put up with that for too long. So those are just a few of the things that I've learned as I've made, hundreds of podcast episodes for trucking fleets at this point in time. That I notice. It's like I see it, I hear it, it kind of goes into the back of my mind. I'm coming back to that later, and that's what we're here for right now. I'm not going to ask Mike and Damon so much about what they disliked about the old companies that they worked for, because honestly, I don't care. We're here to find out what they like and appreciate about how Liquid Trucking does business. And I know that we've done an episode like this in the past before, and there's going to be another one in the future, because I always want to be talking to different drivers about this type of thing. We get 1,400 some odd listens on this podcast every single week, and there's only a couple hundred of you working for Liquid Trucking. So I have to think that there's some prospective drivers out there that listen to this podcast and say, man, maybe I should take the leap. Maybe I should give Liquid Trucking a shot. Well, this episode's going to be a great one for you to listen to, because truth be told, I've already done the interview with Mike and Damon. I know how it goes. Did these segments a little bit of out of order today. If you are sitting there right now listening to this going, man, I just don't know if Liquid Trucking is right for me, I think you'll have an answer at the end of the hour, okay? That's all I'll say. Whether or not that answer is yes, it's for me, or no, it's not, notwithstanding. You listen to these two guys talk about the things they appreciate about the way that Liquid Trucking does business and runs their company, you will know whether or not Liquid Trucking is for you come the end of this episode. So that's all. I don't have any more setup. In fact, I would like to clear the way to get to Mike and Damon, because it's an awesome interview. Those dudes always do great. And, we got some drive for gold points on the way to Mike Stanfield for sending us this topic suggestion. And guys, the inbox is always open. You can email me, podcast@liquidtrucking.com, if you have a segment idea or you've got a topic that you would like to hear about. And I also want you to know, just because Mike suggested this and then Mike came on the show, that's not always how it has to work. I will gladly offer you the opportunity. If you present me with a topic or a segment idea, I am always going to offer you first the opportunity to be one of the drivers that comes in to discuss it. If you don't want to be involved, you just want to hear that discussion, that's fine too. Do not withhold your suggestions because you don't want to be on the show. If you don't want to be on the show, I totally understand. It's not for everybody. There's some drivers that really like it. There's been other drivers that have said, yeah, I've done it once and I think that'll be the last time. You're not hurting my feelings. I know that this is a little bit weird and kind of nerve-wracking for people that don't do it every single day. But all of you guys give great suggestions, and I want you to keep them coming. I'm always taking them. Again, podcast@liquidtrucking.com, or feel free to ring me up or shoot me a text message if you have my number. Again, thanks to Mike for this suggestion. Let's get Mike and Damon in here. No reason for me to keep flapping my gums.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
All right, welcome back into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. It's always my favorite time of the show when we welcome drivers in to talk about today's topic, and today's drivers joining me right now are vet of the podcast and also competing in a contest that I want to talk about here. Please welcome Mike Redbeard Stanfield to the show. What's up, Redbeard? How you doing out there, man?
What's going on?
Oh, not much over here. Where are you at today? It sounds kind of quiet where you're at. Are you you off right now? You stopped?
Yeah, I'm at home right now.
Nice, man. You know how special it makes me feel every time you do this podcast on home time? Like, I'll be honest with you, Mike. If I was you and I called me and asked for a podcast on home time, probably about 7 letters that came out of my mouth, 2 words, and I'll let you guys guess what those might be, okay? So we really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Me and my son have been outside all day, so right now it's just kind of chilling moment. So
very cool, very cool. Thing. Well, glad to have you here. Also joining us today, I don't think he's at home. We've got Liquid driver Damon Maravilla on the show. Damon, welcome back, man. It's been a while since we've talked to you.
Hey, yeah, it's been quite a while. Thanks for having me back, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. You're always welcome here. Where are you at today?
Mike asks me that same question all the time, man. I can tell you I'm on a road.
Okay, right. So he's out there. That's all that matters. The wheels are moving.
Wheels are moving. No, I'm on my way back to the yard from Colorado.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Well, gentlemen, appreciate having you both here today. Before we jump into it, though, Mike, I do want to take this opportunity. You've helped me out a lot on this podcast. You've given me lots of suggestions on topics. You come on whenever I ask you. So this is my way of paying you back. Well, I'm hoping that you should already be in possession of, or will be shortly, some Drive for Gold points for suggesting this episode. Has that happened yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
not yet.
I'll stay on it. We'll make sure that happens for you today. And the other thing is you're competing here. You've got something going on for Inked Magazine. Tell me what's going on. I shared your post today. I'll be honest with you, I didn't actually read it. I just wanted to help you out and get it out there in front of a bunch of people. So what are you competing in right now for Inked Magazine?
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing my post, but it's actually to be featured, the feature in Inked Magazine, plus $25,000 and a free tattoo session with Bang Bang out in New York City.
Wow. Okay, so you need the votes, man. We want to get you that $25,000 and that free tattoo. So check out either it's Michael Redbeard Stanfield on Facebook, right?
Yep.
You can check him out there. If you're in the Liquid Drivers Lounge, I know you shared the post in there. If you're friends with me, Marcus Bridges on Facebook, I shared the post as well. Mike needs votes, so go vote for him because, I mean, hey, we'll go right along with you on this journey, man. You win this thing. First of all, you can send my percentage to my address, which I'll get you off the air. And second, we'll be able to follow along with this whole thing and kind of document it along with you. So it'll be really fun. So we're pulling for you, dude. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited and nervous at the same time, man. So.
Yep, I get it.
Fun.
I get it. Damon, do you have any tattoos?
I've got a few.
Yeah, you're not wanting to compete in Inked Magazine, though, huh? Is that it, or you think you can? Can you hold a candle to Mike? He's got a lot of ink.
Man, I'm not looking for ink, man. I'm looking more for Vogue or something like that.
Okay, all right, I like it, man. Polish up those Italian leather boots and get on some nice slacks. I could see it.
There you go.
Trucker chic, right? Trucker chic.
Exactly, man.
Shit, here before too long, he's going to be wishing to get in GQ, which is never going to happen either. It's that ugly mug.
Hey, man, I got a face only a mother could love too, or a face for radio, they've said. So I get it, man. Some of these models that they're putting out there these days are butt ugly, and guys like Damon and I deserve our shot, right?
Exactly, man.
I give Damon crap all the time. He knows I love him.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate you both being here. I said that earlier because, Mike, you kind of hand delivered this topic and also hand-delivered Damon to me. It's always good to have you back here, Damon. I kind of want to just jump in here with you fellas and start the conversation. We're here today to talk about what drivers appreciate about Liquid. And we've talked about this in certain ways before on the show. It's not the first time we've had this discussion. But Mike, I kind of had a feeling that when you suggested this to me, that you had something on your mind that maybe was causing you to make this suggestion at the time, or maybe it was a bunch of things on your mind. So I'm going to start with you here real quick and just kind of present that question to you in a really open-ended fashion. You suggested the topic. What's a few things that you appreciate about Liquid Trucking and why?
Yeah, cool. So what, and what's crazy is the thing that brought it to my mind is I was driving through the yard, and even though the yard is pretty much gravel and it can get sloppy at times through rain and stuff like that, the thing that stood out to me is there's no potholes at all whatsoever. And that's because they take the time and they grade it and fill potholes when they come. You know, some of these places that we go to, like some of these washouts, are just littered with potholes. And no matter how much you dip, dive, dodge, and whatever, you're hitting potholes. You know what I mean? And that's what clicked in my head. I was like, man, it's the little things too. You know, it's not just being able to get home, you know, when you need to be home and then not even ask questions about it. It's not the pay, it is, but it's not just the pay, but it's little things, you know, free coffee in the break room, you know, like there's an endless supply of coffee. I mean, you go in there and there's just bags of coffee, and, you know, you get coffee, and, you know, the respectable thing to do is you go ahead and make another pot, and it's never ending. You know what I mean? And it's awesome, you know, and I mean, just the things that they do for us is crazy. I wish I would have found this company, like when I first started trucking, even though you have to have, like, I think, what is it, a year over the road experience, maybe, or 2, I can't remember, but this is the greatest company. I'll be with this company until I go local for sure.
That's amazing. And I'm glad that you kind of talked about it like that, because, you know, the one thing that obviously is known for all the drivers that drive for Liquid Trucking is you guys get paid by the hour. And it's a little bit different from a lot of trucking. A lot of drivers are out there getting paid by the mile. But that's an obvious one, right? It's like, it's obvious that, you know, that is going to be a good thing that I appreciate about Liquid. But you kind of drew the attention away from that to, like you said, the little things. The pothole thing, dude, I can't tell you how happy that makes me for you guys, because you're driving around in such a big truck with all that weight. And, of course, it's liquid. Potholes tend to jostle that stuff around. I can't even say what you just said about the yard at Liquid Trucking about my own goddamn neighborhood. I hit a pothole the other day going a little quick, and I swear to God my odometer skipped. Like, it was sat that big, and nobody gives a shit about it. Those little things, they really start to stack up and add up over time, is what it sounds like, Mike.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't thank Liquid enough for, you know, what they've done for me and given me the opportunity to, you know, completely change my lifestyle and be able to provide for my family, and my wife only having to work part-time, and being able to be home more with my kids, because that's getting to be a really important thing. My kids are getting older. They're getting, like, my oldest daughter's graduating this Saturday, you know, and the time's just flying by, and it's just like, man, I'm missing a lot. And, you know, they made it to where I'm able to see my kids a lot more, which I really appreciate too.
That's awesome, man. And congratulations on the upcoming graduation. That's always an exciting time. You throwing her a big party?
Hell no, dude. I don't do parties. We don't do parties here. She goes out and does her own thing. She wants to hang out with her friends. That's fine. But no, I don't like a lot of people over at my house.
I get it, man. I don't like cleaning up after people either. I totally understand. Well, thanks, Mike. And I feel like, you know, there's going to be more. We're going to get into this conversation more. Damon, I'm going to come to you for the same thing here. And I think what we're going to see is that, we really pile up the little things here that drivers appreciate about Liquid Trucking, whether it's, a nice level lot to drive through or getting paid by the hour. But Damon, your turn, man. What are some of the things that stick out in your mind that you appreciate that Liquid Trucking does for their drivers?
Where do I begin? I think Mike hit most of it on the top, man. I mean, you know, and not only that, but I mean, you know, there's an open door policy with everybody there that you know, just works for me. You know, so when you get some of these companies, man, and you've got to beg for people's time, it kind of makes your job a little shittier, you know. And with liquid trucking, it's not there, man. I mean, you can walk in anywhere, and any one of them people there, you know, with safety at the shop, wherever, sit down and talk to you, you know. And that's one of the things I like about it is, you know, everybody treats you like a person. They understand that we're out there, we're doing what we got to do to make money, you know, away from our family, and it's just really helpful.
Sure. You know, I just to kind of extrapolate a little bit on with what you're saying here, I think what you're speaking to here is can be broadly identified as the culture that Liquid has instilled, not just in the staff of drivers, but across the board. Everybody's there for the same reason, right? We all want to make money, and I've worked with enough truck drivers and with enough different trucking fleets to know that dispatch and driver managers and drivers don't necessarily get along like they do at Liquid in a lot of places. I have heard some knockdown, drag-out type fights between dispatchers and drivers, and those kind of wounds can take time to heal, right? Because that's somebody that you've got to work with on a day in, day out. You almost develop like a brother, sister, or, you know, sibling relationship with. It stands to reason that maybe not everything's going to go perfect every single day, but I don't see these huge battles being fought at Liquid Trucking like I have seen at other trucking companies. Damon, does that kind of speak to what you're saying a little bit?
Well, you know, when we talk about battles, I mean, you know, I'm one that I don't pick my battles very well sometimes, and you know, just. I have an issue with my mouth, so you know I've gotten myself into some sticky situations, and you know, kind of using this as an example, you know, I've gotten myself into some sticky situations, and I've ran my mouth a couple times, you know. And to be quite honest, you know, this company is a lot different because you know no matter who it is that you get into an argument with, you know, by the end of the day, it's done and over with, and you know it's let's move on from it and keep you working. And that's one of the best things about Liquid Trucking, man, or at least for me. Mm-hmm. It's taught me, you know, because I'm a hot-headed person. You know, I am not going to lie about that. You know, if it wasn't for Mike, they have a way about themselves. You know, dispatch has a way about themselves, man. They know how to treat us. They you know, and if we don't see eye to eye, then you know we can have our little tiff. You know, it may be an hour, it may be a day later, but we're all apologizing to each other and moving on from it. You know, it's not, oh well, you know what, he was a dick. Let's go ahead and put him on some shitty load. You know, that's not how they are.
Right.
You know, when I had my first issue, man, I thought, oh God, here I go, man. I'm gonna be getting all these crappy loads, man, not making any money. No, that's not how it was, man. You know, we moved on from it. I hear people got a laugh from it. I was scared shitless. I was losing my job. But you
now
know,
you're laughing, right? Now you can look back and laugh.
Exactly. Now I can look back and laugh. And you know, they're not that kind of a company where they you know hold the grudges, and you know they're very professional in every aspect of Liquid Trucking that I've dealt with. You know, they're very respectful, and they treat you how you should be treated. Mm-hmm. And you know that's one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for, man. Is that you know we don't, you know, if there is some kind of battle, it don't last long.
Yeah, that's good, man. And I think that you know part of having a good culture at a company is that, right? We can't be holding grudges against people. We can't be taking out anger on a driver or even a group of drivers. It has to be professional 100% of the time. And you get that, you know, my very first trip to the Plattsmouth terminal, I went down there, spent, I think 4 days, maybe 3 days in there, just meeting people. And that's what I felt is like, it over and over again, I kept finding myself going, these guys are buttoned up and professional. They all are Johnny on the spot. And everybody, well, I didn't get a lot of time with everybody that I sat down with. Everybody I sat down with was focused. They were there for what the task at hand was. Once we had our conversation, they were back to doing what they were needing to do. It was just very efficient and very, like I said, professional across the board. And Mike, I want to get back to you here a little bit because you talked about Never Ending Coffee. What a great culture point for Never Ending, for a trucking company to have Never Ending Coffee for their drivers, just always there. Are there any other parts of the culture, now that you've heard kind of Damon talk through some of his stuff, Mike, that you might call out here? Damon even thanked you for keeping him calmed down a few times. But maybe you can speak to that on kind of the way that the interpersonal relationships work here at Liquid Trucking.
Man, it's pretty lax, for a trucking company. Anytime that I'm at the terminal and I have time, I'll go do the admin building and, I'll go in there and I'll start talking shit to everybody, and, it's just fun, and then I'll go up and mess with my dispatch for a little bit, mess with the other dispatchers, and talk crazy to them, and it's all fun and games, and one of the cool things, and I'll speak on this, from Damon's point of view, is the micromanaging. Like I don't hardly ever talk to James, my dispatcher, unless it's absolutely necessary. You know what I mean? Like I don't hear from him. He doesn't hear from me unless it's, something that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. He lets me drive, he lets me do my thing, and I get it done. You know what I mean? So it's pretty awesome. But yeah, the whole atmosphere is family friendly. Like they understand everybody has families, they have families, and we are treated as family as well. So it's pretty dope. I like it. I do want to speak on a couple other things while it's my turn.
Sure.
I don't want to downplay Bo and Cole's job because they do an amazing job in training. The training facility that they have now is heaps and bounds from what me and even Damon were doing in training. We had just like this little building that had heat but no air, and now they're in a place where there's heat and air conditioning and air conditioned rooms that they do all the training in and everything like that. Training now is awesome. And from what I understand is people that are in training are getting paid way more than what I got paid when I did training. When Damon told me what he was making, I was like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, I guess I just changed it.
Yeah, well, you know what they say, man, stocks always go up. So you gotta keep paying them more, right?
Yeah, but no, it's good, and I'm glad that it was changed up because it definitely helped him with his transition. So
sure,
transitioning from jobs, not from female to male, male to female.
Yeah,
right.
You had to go there, didn't you?
He's still in the throes of that transition. We'll check in with him on the other side of that one.
Also, the shops, man, they do an amazing job. Like, if I call the truck shop and I say, hey, I'm going to be here in, this amount of time or at this time, this is what's going on with my truck. As soon as I pull up, they're outside and they're waving me down like, hey, Bay 2 or Bay 3 or whatever. Same thing with the trailer shop, man. Those guys work their asses off to make sure that we stay rolling and that everything on our equipment is up to date and the right inspection's done and everything is fixed on it and get us on the road back and, driving smoothly.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Good job. Hats off to the shops, man. They're awesome.
Well, I love a shout out on this show. We've established that many times, and I just want to throw my hat in the ring for everybody that you just mentioned. Bo and Cole, first of all, great dudes, just guys that you would want. They took me out for a burger when I was there the first time and just sat down at the table and bullshitted with me, and Nick Meyer was there also, and I just felt like I'd been working for Liquid Trucking for 20 years on that lunch. I think Bo and Cole and Nick as well do a phenomenal job in the orientation, driver training side of things. And the guys at the shop, listen, I will say this about the guys at the shop. I would love to have them on the show as much as they want to come on. But that point that Mike just made is the reason they can't. They are always busting their asses. I've tried, and it's just that, listen, it's going to throw a wrench in their spokes if they give me even a half an hour of their day, because to run things as efficiently as they do, they've got to be there and they've got to be focused. So huge shout out to the Truck and Trailer Shop from the Liquid Trucking Podcast and everybody involved. If there's ever a day off, if you ever feel like just having a chat, you guys know I'm here for you, because I don't feel like you get the love that you deserve. We try to give you the love you deserve, but, you know, it's just hard because we can't put a voice to the names there. But, yeah, great stuff there, Mike. And also, you know, you mentioned stopping by the terminal just to talk some shit to your dispatcher and to some of the guys in safety and everything. I also heard through a grapevine, there's a podcast banner in there with a picture of my face on it somewhere tucked in a closet. Stop by and talk shit to that thing once in a while, too, just for kicks, man. I feel like it'll be worth it.
I think, yeah, I've seen it, and I think they need to, like, cut a hole where your mouth is.
Whoa.
And we could play cornhole and just throw...
What do you, yeah.
throw stuff.
If you say hot dogs, I'm cutting off the interview.
I wasn't, but now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, well... Hey, I got to take that banner to Vegas with me this week, so wait to cut the hole in it until it comes back, okay? Damon, anything to add there as far as the truck shop and the just the things that kind of surround the job there? You know, Mike spoke about his dispatcher, and I know you've said that sometimes you're a bit of a hothead and you'll run your mouth, but do you feel like you have that same trust that Mike was talking about with your dispatcher, where they're not going to micromanage you, they're just going to let you do your job?
Oh, of course. Well, my dispatcher's kind of special, but yeah. No, the relationship between me and my manager, I mean, it's there. We communicate back and forth. You know, I check in with him, and you know, he leaves me alone, lets me do my job, lets me do what I want to do. Well, let me rephrase that. Lets me do what I want to do within reason.
Yeah, so he's good at his job, is what you're saying.
Well, you know, the one thing that, you know, it all goes back to micromanaging and being the captain of your ship, man. You know, they throw you your loads, man, and it's up to you to plan and decide which way you're going to do, or which way you're going to go and how you're going to do it, man. You know, all they ask is that that you know, you keep them up to date, man. Don't wait till the last minute to tell them, hey, look, I'm going to be 5 hours late when your appointment time was 2 hours ago. You know, and as long as there's that communication with your dispatcher, I mean, they leave you alone. They're not down your throats trying to figure out where you're at. You know, of course, you know, from what I understand, they check our location 3 times a day just to make sure that we're en route and on time. So, you know, they don't micromanage us, but I think they do in a way by, you know, behind the scenes. I mean, they have all the access to our truck, and so, you know, they don't have to be down our throats, you know, unless we're one of them ones that want to take, you know, a 15-hour break and then be late and stuff like that. Then yeah, you've got it coming. But other than that, I mean, they leave you alone, let you do what you want to do. You're the captain of the ship. You're going to make that money as long as you are willing to make that money. If you want to be a slacker, if you don't want to do anything, but you want to earn it, then, you know, you're going to get what's coming to you.
Sure. And that's just, you know, that's the way with any job, right? And to be able to do it, know that you know the job, and not have somebody constantly bugging you all day, asking you if you're doing the job. That's just good for your mental state, right? Like that. I've worked for micromanagers before, and ones that, I mean, world-class micromanagers, honestly. I don't know how they're not in a Hall of Fame somewhere, but it's like, I want to ask them, why do you even pay me a salary? Like, if you think you should just be doing the job, then you just come in here and do the job. I don't need to be a middleman between you and self-acceptance. And, you know,
exactly.
It's nice to have that trust and just know, I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, they're going to check your location, but they can do that in the computer. They don't need to call you and ask you where you're at, right?
Exactly, man. You know, and I think that's what I like about this company is, the best way to put it, man, is they allow us enough rope to hang ourselves. And it's whether you're going to hang yourself out here is the question. So if you have a dispatcher that micromanages, then it makes your life a lot more difficult out here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you want to micromanage me? Why don't you come get in the truck yourself and do it?
Yeah.
And that's where that hot-headedness comes out with you, and sometimes, you have to hold your tongue because the money's good. The money's really good out here, but just being able to have a good relationship with your dispatcher changes everything. And, then your dispatcher knows who you are, gets to know you, knows that you're going to do your job, knows whether you're a stress case, knows whether your anxiety's high when you're out here on the road. And so that way he knows whether he needs to micromanage you or not. But if he's going to micromanage you, then he should do it in a very discreet way that you don't feel that micromanaged.
Right, kind of hands off.
Kind of hands off. So,
sure.
Liquid trucking, I've worked with a few. This last week I worked with a couple, 5 or 6. I don't know how many were managing me while my dispatcher was out slacking, but I didn't hear from any of them. I got a text message once and a call from another one. So it goes to show you. I mean, apparently they know what they're doing, and apparently they know who I am. They give you that leeway. So there was no micromanaging there. They let you basically, like I said, be the captain of your ship.
Yeah. Be responsible. You're going to make some good money and have a good time doing it at Liquid Trucking. And Mike, I'm wondering here, you and Damon, I know have a close relationship. He keeps talking about being a hothead, but every time we've ever had him on the podcast, man, he's just been even keel. Damon, you've never been like super hot about. Is there something I can say to him, Mike, that will make him go into hothead mode so I can get some golden content here at the end of this interview?
I don't think we should do that.
You don't think I should?
We shouldn't.
Okay.
We shouldn't.
All right. We'll ask you about your transition later on a different episode then, okay?
Well, I'll tell you what, there is a transition, but it's not male to female, so we're good.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You guys are being a little cryptic here. Should I even ask, or should I just wait for this to happen and then we talk about it?
Well, a lot of people know already, but we'll save it a little bit later. I mean, let's get through with this, and I'll pop the surprise on you.
Okay, I like that. No, there you go. It's a little bit of a tease for the future.
Actually, you know what? This is actually it will actually work just great for your show, for the show. People that are out there listening, man, are questioning, hey, is this for real, man? Are they really making the money that they're making? I don't believe it. I was the same way when Mike was telling me, hey, come on over to Liquid, man. You wouldn't believe this, man. I was like, yeah, okay, recruiter. You just want the money for me to come over here. That's all you want. You just want that money. But I'm glad I did, man, because in the 2 years that I've been here, Mike.
Yeah.
2.5, 2 something. I struggled up and down. I struggled. I'm still struggling, but I'm struggling in a positive way now, man. I'm opening a Chinese restaurant in my hometown.
Oh, that's awesome.
And thank you. And I wouldn't have been able to do it working for some company that's paying me, 45, 65 cents a mile, man. It wasn't going to happen. And in the 2 years that I've been here, I'm able to do that. Now, am I struggling doing it? Oh, mentally, yeah. Physically, yeah. I'm doing this. I'm doing this without paying people to do it. I'm learning as I go.
Sure.
But if it wasn't for Liquid, if it wasn't for the money that they're paying us, if it wasn't for the opportunity that they've given me, then I wouldn't be here. And that's something to be grateful for. That's something to be thankful for. So yeah, if people are questioning it, can you make enough money to do it? I make enough money to put money into the restaurant and take care of my family. So I may be broke at the end of the week by doing it that way, but
But you're doing it.
But I'm doing it, and if people are questioning whether they want to come because hey, it's a lie, it's not a lie, man. It's not a lie. It can be done.
You also paid off your property too, bro.
Well, yeah. Hey, yeah. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to pay off my property either, man. I just paid off my property at the beginning of the year, Mike.
That's so cool. Congratulations, man. That is huge, man, because when you're talking about property, that's probably a 30-year loan over your head or 20 years or some long thing like that. And to get out from under that is a feeling unlike any other.
Well, it wasn't a loan. Yeah, it wasn't a loan. I did a contract with deed, so it was a 5-year contract. But I was struggling with these other companies, man. If it wasn't for the money I'm making here, man, I would have never where I could pay it off.
Well, what is the name of the restaurant so that anybody in the area can go check it out if they're listening and they're driving through? I guess I should ask this: are you open yet?
No, we aren't open yet, man. We're not going to be open until October.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm doing this. I'm doing this all with what the company pays me, man. Is what I'm doing this with. So. I'm not taking out loans or anything like that. I want to do this out of pocket. I want to go into it without any big debt.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does. So, okay, well, we'll say this then, because we teased it for the future a little bit. Maybe after the summer goes through and you get some more work done, we'll hook up with you again in the fall and get an update. I want to, let people know whenever you do have your grand opening, so that if anybody that's listening to the podcast is in the area, they can come get some Kung Pao, dude.
Yeah, most definitely. That'd be great.
Awesome. Well, Damon, I think you highlight something, and Mike, you do too on this show that I think, again, we're talking about why drivers appreciate Liquid Trucking. I've noticed when I talk to God knows how many Liquid drivers that I've talked to at this point in time, almost every single one of you guys has like a hobby that you're really interested in, whether it be riding motorcycles, you're opening your own business, Damon. I know guys on this show have been, hobby guys where they're putting together cars and fixing up old cars, doing resto mods and stuff. I know some guys ranches that they're running while they truck. And that's something that I feel like the proof is right there in the pudding. Every single one of you drivers not only has enough time to go out and do the things that you enjoy, but you're not financially limited to not be able to do those things. And that's because you're paid what you're worth, man. You paid what you should be, which is another great thing to appreciate about Liquid Trucking. I'm glad that we were able to keep this conversation away from just the pay and just sit there and hit that over the head. But at the end of the day, it's why we're all here, right? Everybody's trying to support their family, put food on the table, maybe put a new alternator in the resto mod, or maybe put a new deep fryer in the kitchen. And so the pay part, while it's not what we wanted to focus on here today, it's a very important part of the conversation.
Sure, for sure.
Well, fellas, this has been great. It's gone even better than I expected to, because we got to some places I didn't expect us to get to. I'm super stoked, Mike, for your opportunity with Inked Magazine. Again, please go vote for Mike. Check that out, the Liquid Trucking Drivers Lounge. There's a post in there. And I know that, you're always out finding interesting things to do, so we'll be in touch with you soon. But real quick, I wanted to make some room for final thoughts like we always do here. Mike, since you're the one that suggested this episode and you brought me Damon on a silver platter, I'm going to start with you. Thanks for the time here, brother, and anything for us before we let you go?
Man, I don't know. I mean, if by now, if you've listened to this podcast and you are still on the fence, I don't know what to tell you, man, because you just need to take the leap. I know it was hard for me to take the leap when I saw the ad on Facebook, and, I'm glad I did. If you guys are in the hiring area, call up Nick or whoever's in recruiting and get to know us a little bit better here at Liquid Trucking, man, because I'll tell you what, once you get on, you're going to be super happy. Now, is it hard work? Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing easy about this job. It's dangerous. It's hard, but it's also rewarding at the same time. So if that's your cup of tea, man, you want to come over, be part of a family, and have fun in your career, come on over. Get yourself one of these popsicles.
I'll tell you something. You keep on doing ads that well. When they send me the ad copy, I'm just going to call you and say, read this, because you can save me some time, man. That was great. Thank you, Mike. As always, man, it's a pleasure to have you on. And I will tell you this, one of the drivers that I'm the closest with, man, appreciate you always keeping in touch and staying in touch with the podcast, man. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, man. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Damon, we'll go to you now. Final thoughts before we let you go. Again, thanks for the time. I feel like it's been too long, but now that I've got something out in the future, I'm putting your name on it, and I'm going to be back in touch with you in the fall because I love me a good Chinese food restaurant. Don't get me wrong.
I ain't made it down there, man. I'll give it to you half price.
Hell yeah. You don't have to do that, man. I got to take care of you. This is something you've done through your blood, sweat, and tears. I'm paying double for my Kung Pao.
Oh, don't say that, man. I keep people to their word.
Final thoughts for us, Damon, before we let you go?
Final thoughts, man. Appreciation is everything, man. It goes both ways. Having a company that appreciates me and what I do out there and appreciates, the safety side of it means the world to me, man. They keep me safe. They keep everybody safe out here. If I was in recruiting, man, I'd honestly say, man, if you want to be appreciated, if you're tired of just feeling used, why don't you come on over here to Liquid Trucking and be appreciated while you're getting used, because that money is good, man. Like Mike said, it is hard work, but the end result is what matters, man. And you matter. We matter. Our drivers matter. So thank you, Liquid Trucking, for all you've done for me, man, and where you've got me, and how you guys have helped me grow. I appreciate each and every one of you out, that are in the office doing your job, keeping me safe and keeping me running, man. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So, thank you.
Very
That's
well
all I
said.
got to say.
That was beautiful.
Very well said. I mean, I don't even need to do an ad anymore. I've got you guys on lock. If one of you's busy, I'm just going to send it to the other one. My job just got so much easier. Guys, thank you both so much. We'll let you get back to it. Mike, enjoy your home time. Damon, you be safe out there. And thanks for coming on with me today, fellas.
I appreciate being with you, man.
Huge thanks to Mike Stanfield and Damon Maravilla for all that info that they just gave us on why they appreciate Liquid Trucking and what they appreciate about Liquid Trucking. I told you off the top, if you were a prospective Liquid employee thinking about it and you chose this episode to listen to, congratulations, you were in the right place. Huge thanks to Damon and Mike again for coming on and sharing some of their time with us. We have just a little bit of time left in one of the first interviews that hasn't run ridiculously long in months. I decided to bring you guys something a little bit fun today, all right? So I went scouring through the interwebs, as I will do. Memorial Day was just over the weekend, actually. We just got off that little 3-day weekend. I love Memorial Day for more than one reason. I got married over Memorial Day weekend, so obviously each year it's a chance to celebrate with the wife, which I really enjoy. But Memorial Day is kind of that first official holiday where you think, dude, it could be summer. Like, I don't want to say this too loud because somebody might hear me and turn the rain back on in the Pacific Northwest, but Memorial Day rolls around, you get a nice sunny 75-degree day, and you're thinking, dude, summer is right there. I can smell her. And that's why I love Memorial Day so much, is because it's kind of the change of the seasons. It's a 3-day weekend. Obviously, I don't discount the reason that we celebrate Memorial Day. This is a very important day to memorialize everyone that made the ultimate sacrifice for our great country. And I don't forget that at all. But A lot of people do. And a lot of people go out and they try to make the ultimate sacrifice for Memorial Day for some reason. And they do dumb things. So I have created a top 10 list, sort of in the vein of like a David Letterman top 10 list, if you remember those. Of course, Letterman hasn't been on TV for, 15, 20 years. So maybe that's the wrong one for me to say. It's going to have a little bit of a Weekend Update feel from, what is that, Saturday Night Live? You guys know Weekend Update? Am I hitting a chord here with anybody? No? Okay. Well, it's a top 10 list, and hopefully you guys think it's funny. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Coming in at number 10. Let me see if this works. Yeah, look at that. I got a drum roll. You guys didn't expect that out of me, did you? Well, I got buttons now. I have always had buttons, but I got the right buttons. Coming in at number 10 on our Memorial Day Follies top 10 list, the boat that couldn't float. In 2025, a group of friends in Clearwater, Florida decided to celebrate Memorial Day by taking their brand new boat out for a spin. Just bought it, fresh off the showroom floor, still smells like whatever a new boat smells like. Unfortunately, they forgot to put the drain plug in, which this is kind of a batteries not included thing for boats. They don't actually install that plug. They leave it in the glove box for you. You got to put that in. I think that's the one test that the boat dealers give. If you don't think to look to see if the plug's in, you shouldn't have a boat. So, yeah, these guys sank their boat almost immediately, within minutes. Listen, there's never a good reason for water to be coming inside the boat. If you see it and there's just a couple centimeters, you should go, hey, we should get this thing to, a not sinkable and lose it forever depth. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Coming in at number 9, Grill Master Gone Wild. In 2022 in Austin, Texas, a man attempted to deep fry a turkey on his backyard grill. Now, I don't know why you would choose deep fried turkey on Memorial Day. That's a questionable at best selection that you made there, but you're going to deep fry it, and it would appear here that you're going to deep fry it on a barbecue grill. He did not account for the oil overflow that happens when you put a 20-pound turkey into a giant vat of boiling hot oil, and the resulting fireball that exploded from the barbecue singed off Frank's eyebrows, earning him the nickname Flame Broiled Frank, which I do like for the rest of the summer. He's also been relegated, as we learned from his wife, to hose duty on the community slip and slide. He will no longer be near anything flammable as Flame Broiled Frank. Number 8 on the list. In 2023 over Memorial Day, a neighborhood in Eugene, Oregon, that's right here in my own dirty hometown, set up a massive slip and slide down a hill. One enthusiastic participant forgot to remove his phone from his pocket, turning his slide into a viral video titled iPhone Dive Bomb. Obviously, the internet has a different perspective on what a viral video is than what I do, because I scoured the internet for a half an hour looking for this stupid video and never fucking found it. So, I went ahead and dug in a little bit deeper. It seems that this man was also later cited and released for setting up a community slip and slide at the tent city that had taken over a local park. So, things are just right down the middle in Eugene back in 2023 over Memorial Day weekend. Number 7, the Great Tent Collapse. I don't even know if you could call this a collapse. During a family camping trip in Colorado in 2021, a sudden unexpected gust of wind turned this family's tent into a kite. The tent suddenly soared into the air hundreds of feet and came to rest right where you would expect it to. Remember, this is a kind of a National Lampoon's camping trip. If the tent's airborne, you are National Lampoon's right off the bat. The tent landed in a nearby lake. So the family actually ended up spending the night in their minivan, dubbing it Camp Chrysler. The children have checked in, saying that this has ruined the outdoors for them completely, and they both plan to get degrees in art. So sometimes camping trips can go wrong, man. Number 6 is the barbecue sauce slip-up at a community cookout in Atlanta, Georgia in 2022. An excited man, we'll call him an excited man, slipped on spilled barbecue sauce while he was cutting a rug on the dance floor. This led to an unplanned dive right into the potato salad bowl, which, by the way, when it's a community cookout for Memorial Day, that potato salad bowl has got weight, okay? It was big. This is actually something I learned after the fact. He was unsuccessful in trademarking his new dance move, the Sweet Baby Ray's Shuffle. Right? No? Nothing? I thought it was funny. Then again, I'm up here, just broadcasting to nobody right now, so even if it was, I wouldn't know. Fireworks Fiasco is coming in at number 5 on our top 10 list of Memorial Day follies. Coming in from 2023 in Indianapolis, a group decided to set off fireworks during the day. I like fireworks as much as the next guy, but can we save them until at least dusk? Like, you're wasting a good firework. If this is not a snap pop or like a sparkler, you should not be wasting your hard-earned money blowing up fireworks during the day. But anyway, one of the fireworks at this party misfired, launching into a neighbor's kiddie pool. The unexpected splash zone led to a new game that the people play called Dodge the Roman Candle. That's not new. Been playing that game for 20 years. Had one of them fire out the backside and hit me right in the jewels when I was a kid once. So Dodge the Roman Candle can be kind of a game you play with others and a game you play by yourself, apparently. But there's no word on this. Now, again, I want to tell you, this firework landed in a kiddie pool. Not a pool, a kiddie pool. There is no word on whether the child that was launched from the pool during this incident ever re-entered Earth's atmosphere. So we just don't know. Number 4, paddleboard peril. A woman in La Jolla, California, tried paddleboarding for the first time in 2024. Why? We have not yet figured out. Only to be chased by an overly friendly sea lion. The woman later learned that this, quote, overly friendly sea lion was actually just her best friend Stephanie, whom she had forgotten to rent a paddleboard for. So there's that. Coming in at number 3 is the lawn chair liftoff in 1982. This one's pretty famous. 1982, Memorial Day weekend. A man in San Pedro, California, decided to attach helium balloons to his lawn chair, aiming for what he called a gentle float. Well, instead, he soared 16,000 feet into the air before crash landing in Long Beach, which immediately sent him back to San Pedro. They didn't want him either. He now holds the unofficial record for the most airborne lawn chair, and he also holds the title The Dumbest Man in Aviation. And he was the inspiration for that movie Up. So, look, sometimes you have a bright idea in 1982, and later Disney Pixar steals the ideas from you and makes millions upon millions of dollars. But it's just the way it goes, man. It's Memorial Day. You never know what's going to happen. The Great Hot Dog Heist. This one's pretty good. At a picnic in Central Park, New York in 2015, a dog managed to snatch an entire tray of hot dogs, leading the guests on a merry chase around the park. The dog he was very good at this. Like, he was able to avoid these people for a long time. He was eventually caught, but not before enjoying quite a few hot dogs off the tray. I learned later that it was reported that this was actually the same dog that was used to locate crucial evidence in the Lorena Bobbitt case from years ago. So no surprise that he made off with a tray of hot dogs and snagged a few for himself. He's really good at his job. Finally, coming in at number 1, the Jet Ski Jamboree. Yeah, the Jet Ski Jamboree. It turns out in 2023, in Traverse City, Michigan, 2 friends decided to race their jet skis. That's fun. While wearing inflatable dinosaur costumes. Now, if you've never put one of these things on, the one thing I can tell you is that peripheral vision, much like the dinosaurs, does not exist in these inflatable dinosaur costumes. You used to have it, and then you put them on, and it's gone. Well, imagine this. The 2 could not see each other and crashed into one another, sending them both flying off their jet skis and tumbling into the water. It is good to know that both of these dinosaur suit-wearing men were okay, save for just being altogether stupid. The video called Jurassic Splash became an online sensation. Apparently, I couldn't find this one either. I, for one, have chosen to believe that it is behavior like this that killed the dinosaurs. And that's your top 10 list for you. Yeah, I don't feel like it. That first applause I played was way too many people, way too excited. That little golf clap was about what it should be. And that's going to wrap up the Liquid Trucking Podcast for you. Episode 78 is in the books. Thank you to each and every one of you that came out and shared some time with us today. We greatly appreciate every single click. Don't forget to go check out the website, liquidtrucking.com. Click the banner at the top of the page with the picture of me to learn more about our podcast and go through and check out all those episodes, man. If you haven't listened to 78 episodes, you got homework to do, and I'm putting it on you. By next week, I want you to catch up. Well, that's probably asking a little much. It's like 78 hours. By next week, I want you to halfway catch up. So, work your 40, 50, or 60 hours that you're working. Just cancel sleep and family time. Say, listen, I got to catch up on the Liquid Trucking Podcast. It's okay. They'll understand. I've already told them how very important this little podcast that could is. You drivers stay safe out there. Keep the shiny side up. Until next week, I'm Marcus. We'll see you then. It's the dumbest outro I've ever done.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.